Hey friends, it's Romania Black, and we are on episode 4 of Blue Lock, baby. Yeah! I'm so excited! Last week, we had a really good episode where Isagi decided to do the damn thing and go in there and figure out a way to get Rin and Ryusei to be able to work conjunctively together with him in the middle. He basically made himself the center of a sandwich. You can take that however you like to. But it was a lot of fun, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I'm super excited about episode 4 because we have previewed in the post-credit scene that REO and Nagi are going to get to work together this episode, which I'm hoping is the case. I'm so excited. And I want to see Kenyu play because we haven't seen Kenyu play at all. We've had an assassin, we've had a ninja. I want to see what Kenyu is. So I'm really excited of the top 6. I mean, Rin is, what would Rin and Ryusei be? Ryusei is like a chainsaw. Or a tornado, something, or he needs to be something organic because he talks about his cells and biology. We'll figure that one out later. I'm sure they'll get names by the end of this, but they'll get tags. I do have a couple comments to talk about before we start. I've got my blue Kool-Aid ready. I slammed it down earlier and got blue Kool-Aid everywhere, which is just how excited I am. So, but yeah, the 2 comments I want to point out is that Ruru477 noted that Nagi's aura, I mean, we're just basically going to feed the allegations that Nagi and REO are a couple and settle with that. But Nagi's aura was purple in the last episode. And I was like, on the one hand, Nagi's always had that like cosmic Milky Way aura to him, which is kind of like purples and blues and blacks and whites and all that, right? But also you could connect it to REO. So if you want to be shippy with it, you can go full shipper with it. They also noted, because we talked about Ada being possibly the only heterosexual character in the series. No, because Ruru pointed out that Ada said, verbatim, ninjas must always hide their true colors. And then within the same conversation said, I'm not into guys. So you take that however you want to. To me, after Ruru pointed that out, I was like, oh, okay. All right. So if there are moments of him and Tobito being all handsy and stuff, I'll be like, sure, ninja. Okay, sure, Jan. Not beating the allegations. I love it, though. I love it. And then Alexander Q pointed out a couple things as well. Speaking which, the Nagi episode just came out on streaming, so they were tying it in with how, like, oh, what a coincidence. The Nagi episode's out on streaming, and it just so happens that we're now also having an episode of possibly Nagi and REO together. The coincidence. And I was like, sure, okay. But they also pointed this out. If you all have watched Haikyuu, and if you have seen my channel, then you know that I do like Haikyuu a lot, but Oikawa is my favorite character in Haikyuu. I mean, you can't see this because of the computer, but I maybe don't have 1 or 2 or 3. I may have 3 little versions of Oikawa in front of me at the computer at all times. I'm just saying I'm kind of obsessed. So do I have like a little mini shrine to Oikawa? Maybe. That's present at all times. Maybe, possibly, who knows? But Alexander Q pointed out that Isagi in the last episode was kind of functioning in a similar way to Oikawa, and I was instantly like, tell me more. So they pointed out that Isagi was like Oikawa in bringing out the best in his teammates, which is what Oikawa does in that show, and elevating their play style. And I totally agree with that. That's probably why I was like, oh my god, Isagi last week. But to be fair to Oikawa, and sorry, Isagi, I would argue personally that Oikawa has a little bit more natural, or maybe not natural, has more of an experienced and heightened talent. Although one of Oikawa's famous quotations is that talent is something you bloom. So maybe in Isagi's case, Isagi has yet to fully bloom his talent. And in Blue Lock, maybe instead of talent being something you bloom, talent is something you consume. We'll just have to see, right? We'll just have to see. But I am so excited for this episode, y'all. I cannot express to you how excited I am. So I'm fully ready for it, right? I'm fully ready for it. I cannot believe we're already here. But I'm going to go ahead and go back to my little team here. Our teams this episode are going to be Rin, Ryusei, Ryu, Ishikari, and maybe Igarashi. I couldn't tell for sure last episode. Nobody's corrected me yet, so we'll see. And then Nagi, Kenyu, REO, Tanaka, and Gin. What a combination. But I want to see what Kenyu ends up doing, so I'm pretty excited. But yes! So with this, I will take a sip of the blue Kool-Aid. So good. And we're ready to get started. But I hope you all are ready. It's been 5 minutes. We're not going to waste any more time. We are going to get started on Blue Lock episode 28 or episode 4 of season 2. And we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1. And let's go. Okay. I had to start over real quick because I wanted to check and make sure that I had Japanese with English subtitles. We do. So we're good. Great. I'm so excited. What we gonna get, Blue Lock? Of course. Oh my god. Oh, grades are impeccable. Everything's perfect. He's just like the dreamiest kid in school. Oh my god. Uh-huh. But not one thing. Uh-huh. But I want that something out of my reach. Not all that's out of my reach. Like, Nagi is the white version of that golden statue. Yes. Oh. Oh! 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 Sure. Okay. All right, we're going to skip that. Ah! Chameleon. Ooh, is that Kenyu? Is Kenyu the chameleon? Oh, they're redoing the footage together. Him and Rin. Ah. Rin's like, so... Oh, no, it's not a Sae. I was like, we'll talk about it in discussion. Hiori kind of told me to do that. While these two were fighting, I squeezed in between them. Oh, he's so precious! Ah! Dude, you're a monster and you don't realize it. Aww. Yo, his name is Hiori Yo. Aww. What if I get into the top 11 without you? It's like Tetris? Oh my god, the Blue Lock version. Uh-huh. You don't get time to think. That's a really good way of reviewing it. Uh-huh. That's a really good analogy. Honestly, it's like, yes. Ah. I want to imagine that Ego's made his own game up and is marketing this. Ah, if you know what's coming up next. Oh, okay. I love that. That shot is beautiful. Nice. Hiori would be a really good coach, actually. If this doesn't work out for you, Hiori, to play in the top 11, you should become a soccer coach because you're really good at explaining these things. Nice. Oh, this is so cool. Uh-huh. Ta-da! Yep. That's how you got to that spot. I love the Kansai Ben accent that's in the translations. Aww. It's your speed. I wonder if he knows Atsumu and Osamu. Oh. You went from 4G to 5G, Isagi! You upgraded. 5G? Ah! A trance. You got in the, you went in the zone. You got into the zone. I'm loving the Haikyuu and Kuroko's basketball overlap that's happening. Right, yeah. Let's give them credit. Yay! Aw! Look at them! What a sweetheart. Oh. It may sound rude, bro. Oh, but he's like, I could keep up with you. Oh! What a sweetheart. Maybe it's good that Isagi is a mid-range fighter, so he can get, like, on all aspects. Oh. They're two precious individuals, and I love both of them. Yeah. And Ego's, like, watching all of this. Where's Rin and Ryusei? Oh, they're so precious. But you know you can do it. Ooh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Good. Are they able to watch this? Can they watch the matches? Oh, wait, no, Rin and Ryusei are with the other team. What am I saying? Of course. Oh, my God. Okay. Ryo's so intense in this moment. Oh, my God. Ooh, the soundtrack. Yes. Oh. Nagi's like, why are you looking at me? Oh. It is Igarashi. Okay, good. Oh, are you? Oh my God. So Ryusei and him. Oh! Oh! Hi, Discount Borrow! Oh, he's super tall. Ishikari, okay. Oh, him! A useful monk. Oh, indeed. Oh. Oh, is Kenyu gonna come up and, like, wreck your shit? Oh! Oh! Where's Kenyu? He's, like, not even in this. Where's he at? Why is he just waiting off in the wings? That's ominous. Very ominous. A crossroads of my destiny! What is this chanting? Ah! Aw, hell. Oh my God. Oh, there's Geen! Yay! Oh, look at him! Good job. Ah! I love that Ryusei still compliments him. Oh. Oh, he's got glasses. It's over. It's over. He's got the Miyuki shades. It's done. It's done. Oh, we're done. Oh. The moment he whipped out the orange glasses for sports glasses. Oh. That's the good shit. Oh my God. Ryusei is getting high on all this. Yukimiya. Speed and physique. Oh. Oh. Oh, really? Emperor. Oh, of course. Discount borrow. Get on it. Oh. Oh, shit. Oh, no, no, it was not. I'm a pacifist. It's gonna go to Nagi. Oh! Oh, are you? I have arrived! Oh! Oh! Hi! He's got... Oh my god, there was like Aizen vibes of according to planned. Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh. REO, honey. Oh, REO. Uh-huh. He's like, Nagi's gotten so much more advanced. Right, yeah. No, it's just like, throw it at the wall and see what sticks. Hmm. Oh. Oh. REO! REO, don't be like that! Stop! Quit being so angsty! Oh, why is it like... Oh. Oh, come on, REO. Don't give up. Shut up! Don't give up! Work towards it, bitch! REO, don't give up! Reen, reen! I do what I want! Come on! You gotta find a way! Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, interesting. Okay. But you are an all-rounder. That's not a bad thing. Come on. It's okay. Well, that's what you gotta do like Isagi and figure it out. Ah! Oh my god. Come on, REO. Oh my god. Okay. He's like, maybe I did. What about it? Oh. REO, come on, sweetheart. Yeah. These batshit idiots. Oh. Come on, REO, honey. Oh. Oh. Hmm. Be Nagi's manager. You know. Oh. 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 an idiot myself. Oh. 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 Yes, lean into it. Exactly. Oh. Mr. Control. Oh, there you go, sweetheart. Get it, sweetie. Oh. Ah! Oh! Oh! Oh, bitch! Yes, please! Uh-huh. Oh! Ah! He copied his shot. He's the chameleon! Oh my gosh! Ah! Okay, so maybe you can watch it after you've already done yours. Oh, I love it! Oh, bro, he's like Kisei. Oh, yeah, this is... It's still a copy. Ooh, Hiori is so perceptive. Right, but still useful. Ooh. Kisei from Krogo's Basketball would beg to disagree. Ooh, I mean, we'll talk about this in the discussion. It's still under development, yeah. Well, wait till he gets in the zone too, and then we'll be fine. Oh. So they did manage to win. Oh, interesting. Yes. Oh. It's very you. It's not enough. Ooh. Oh. Shut the frick up. Shut up, love story. Shut up. Shut up, love story. This is amazing. Stop it. Oh. 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 Let's go. Let's skip this. Oh. Mr. Genius. Oh, his agent. Oh. Oh. Oh, shit. Oh. 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 They have to be Japanese. What? Uh, uh. Oh, yeah, I can see it. I can see it. Well, no, and those are fake. Yeah. Oh. A chameleon. Ah! Oh my god, look at praying mantis. A glam sect. A rhinoceros beetle. Yes. It's his face. What is this shipping? Ah! A failed experiment. Ah! Oh. Oh my god! Let's stop this. Oh. Okay. What? What? Well, okay. Oh, friends. We're drinking good today. The blue Kool-Aid is flowing. The shipping is here. My heart. Oh my God. Oh. Okay, look. Look. I think, I've got like dog hair in my mouth. I feel, regardless of whatever your shipping preferences are, we could go all day long on the shipping of sports anime because you can ship just everybody with everybody. And you can ship in Blue Lock so many couples. It's fine. So I feel like, regardless of who you ship, there is no doubt in my mind that this series is shipping REO with Nagi. It's just like, they are an OTP. They just are. And yeah, Isagi has like a buffet of boy. Isagi has like, there's Rin, there's Bachara, there's Ryusei now. Like Isagi, Nanase is in there. There's just like a buffet of people all wanting to clamp down on the larva that is Isagi, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But I feel like REO and Nagi, end game. Regardless of what happens in the future with REO and Nagi, if Nagi makes it pro and REO doesn't, then I feel like whatever the case may be, REO is still going to be pursuing Nagi forever until he's his. And all I need is for Nagi, all I need is for, because look, even when we get to the top 11, the whole original premise was for there only to be 5 to make it to the U20s, 5 to be strikers that would make it forward. That was the whole point. So even if you're of your top 11, technically only 5 should make it out. Do I think REO would be in the top 5? No. So I just need, if REO eventually does get kicked out, all I need is for Nagi to be like, I'll be yours when this is all said and done, and I'll be fine. REO will be like, you want me to be a businessman? Okay, fine. I'll go run a soccer agency, and I'll be REO's agent, and that's where we'll be, and we'll just do each other on the side, and it'll be great. And that's all I need. I will be satisfied. REO's got this in the bag. REO has got the best of both worlds. Right now, it's just his own personal preference, but REO's got everything handed to him. He could take over his dad's company and then make it a thing for Nagi, and then play with Nagi on their professional professional soccer field that they've bought next to their giant mansion and pool and 6 adopted sons. Like, I think that they've got it all ready to go. So now it's just REO getting what he wants, and what he wants is Nagi. And he knows now that to get to Nagi, he's got to up his game, and I'm so here for it. So let's talk about this episode. This episode was like a romance love story, just talking about REO getting everything that he wants. He's just a perfect kid. He's great at sports. He's an all-rounder. He's a master of all trades. He's great with the ladies. He's great at sports. He knows music. He's got grades. He's got it all. REO is spoiled for choice. And what I like about REO's character is, you know, when you have a privileged character like that, you could go on the route of making REO like a total asshole. Right? You can make him just be like a dick. But REO is not like that. He's actually a very relatable person. And it's kind of I think it's a very interesting and hard balance to have a character that's so privileged like REO and make him relatable to all of us who probably do not have all those privileges, and to make him a character that we care about and that we sympathize with and that we understand and want to relate to and root for as an underdog. Like, it's hard to strike that balance, but they do that with REO, and it makes him such a great character. Like, he's honestly, with this episode, one of my favorites. And I like that he's like, I just want something that I have to fight for. And I love that, honestly, it hit me in this episode. REO is Kisei from Kuroko's basketball. REO is Kisei. And it took me this long to kind of realize it, but I was like, oh my God, he is. He's Kisei. And this is not really Kuroko's basketball spoilers, but Kisei is one of the main characters in Kuroko's basketball, and he kind of has a similar, he's a model. So he has a similar kind of thing with REO. He's pretty, he's talented, he doesn't have to try hard, it just naturally happens for him. Now, I will say, unlike Kisei, who seems to have it all naturally like fall into place, REO is shown like studying and working hard and doing the work. So there is that. But Kisei also in the series is kind of like, he's not satisfied and he wants something that's his own that he has to work towards. And basketball for Kisei becomes what soccer is for REO. It's something they can't just walk up and grab a trophy for and walk off stage. They have to work for it. And kind of like Kisei and REO both have the situation where they're both like, you know, master of all trades, but they're not like exceeding in one particular area. They're just an all-rounder and balanced. So Kisei also has the ability to copy moves, which is exactly what REO does. So it's like they both are so similar. Now, shipping wise, the shipping in Kuroko's basketball is kind of like a rainbow. You can move Skittles around all over the place and ship people with sheep. I would argue Kisei doesn't have like an OTP person like REO does with Nagi, but they're so similar. And I was like, oh my God, they're very similar, which is fine. But their personalities are also totally different. So that's a good thing. But yeah, I love when he's like, I want something that, you know, there are things in this world out of my reach. And it goes from the trophy to Nagi touching his neck in the same way that the hand's on the trophy. And I'm like, shut up. Just shut up. You know exactly what you're doing, show. And he's like, Nagi. And he's like, keep your eyes on me. And here's the thing. He's like, I love that REO tells Nagi to keep his eyes on him. And REO tells him that. And Nagi's like, okay. But 5 minutes into the game, REO realizes that strategy before, where he was like, Nagi, watch me and I'll get the ball to you, they're on a different level now. And it's not going to be the dynamic that works to do that. Now, here's the thing. I think that if we're going to talk about how REO is going to develop as a character and how we can do that, I think, honestly, that the way to make that work is that REO's next step should be, okay, I can max out at 99% on all of these things, so I can get right up to your level. I may not be able to exceed you, but I can get right up to your level. So I'm going to be able to coordinate, because we've established that REO, if we were playing volleyball, REO would be a setter. Kind of like Isagi in the last episode being like, Oikawa, you're being a setter. You're setting things up for your team. So I feel like REO and Isagi both work hand in hand and kind of have the same role, sort of, where REO could be like Isagi with his teammates and set things up and coordinate. And REO he's called Mr. Control. So he's been known to like orchestrate and make things move on the chessboard. So he could do that. Now, the difference between REO and Isagi is that REO caps out at 99%. He's an all-rounder balanced player, so he's really good. He's just not going to excel to beat Ryusei or Rin or Kenyu or Nagi. Isagi has that latent potential where he may not be an all-rounder, but as a setter, he can have spikes where he exceeds the people that he's working with. So I like that there's differences, there's similarities. That's really cool. I'm going to be honest with y'all. When we went back to the room where they can watch the game, so apparently before your match, you cannot see any of the games. You're just sitting there in the waiting room waiting your turn. But once you have played your game, so now Nagi and the others could go reunite with Isagi and them and sit down and watch the other games. Once you've played your match, unless you're Bachira, then you got 2 matches to play. Then I wonder how that works. I guess Bachira just plays in one match and then he's going to go sit out for 6 hours and he might have to play another one back to back. That would be hard. I would hope that he'd have like more chances to not have to do that. I forget how they had the triangle set up. I don't think A team just played 2 games back to back. So maybe they'll have time in between their other ones. Maybe, because they were playing 4 games all together. So probably. There'll probably be another game. Maybe it'll be B versus C. And then we'll have another game that's maybe A versus B again. And then we'll have C versus B again, maybe. That seems about right. So maybe, yeah, Bachira will have a chance to maybe rest a little bit between games. Anyway, so when we went back to this room where there were the projectors showing the games, sitting on the little futon cushions that if you look off to the side, they also have Blue Lock logos on them. Ego. Are you just banking on when this is all over to just sell all of this as Blue Lock merch, wash it out and sell it? Sir, we'll talk about ego at the end of this. But I feel as if when I looked into this episode and saw the player with their hair down, I thought it was Rin. I thought Rin was sitting next to Isagi. My mind temporarily went blank and I went into shipper mode because I forgot that Rin and Ryusei were playing against Team B or Team C. And so I was like, oh, good, Isagi and Rin shipping moments. My bad. It's not a Sae without his headband, which is a confusing look, right? But they're going back and watching how things worked. And Isagi's trying to figure out, like, how did I do this? What did I do exactly? And that's when Hiori shows up to kind of explain it. And he's like, well, I've never made such complicated movements before. And Hiori's like, well, I thought that Rin or Shido would get it, but, you know, this is, looking back and analyzing your own play like this is important for you, Isagi-kun. I love the translators getting the Kansai Ben accent, like, so thick and heavy on Hiori, which is kind of cool because normally when I've seen characters that have Kansai Ben accents in anime, they've usually been like delinquents or kind of like gruff or more like, I don't want to use the word masculine, but for lack of a better word, kind of more like buff or macho-ish. So seeing Hiori, who is not macho-ish, be the one with the Kansai Ben accent is kind of cool. I like that. I like the variety. But Hiori, if this doesn't work out for him, which I do not think that Nanase is making the top 11. As much as he is a sweet, precious bean, and I love him, I don't think he's making it. And I think in a heartbreak of heartbreak twists, they're not going to have Hiori make it either. That's going to be the cruelty, is that Hiori is the one that helped Isagi get to this point, but he's not going to make the cut. That's going to be hard. And I can see it happening because Blue Lock's going to be a bitch like that. And Isagi's going to be like, oh my God, you're not making it, Hiori? And he's going to be like, yeah, I'm not surprised. But honestly, if Hiori doesn't make the top 11, he should totally be a coach. Be a soccer coach. Like, he's so good at breaking things down and explaining them. Like, he could be a teacher. He could be a coach. He's really good at explaining things and using analogies and metaphors that work and they're easy to understand. You're like, oh, it's like Tetris. Okay, cool. That's a great way of breaking it down. Like, I honestly think if this doesn't work out for him, he has a future career in the soccer industry, just not as a player. Right? So he explains to him how it works. He's like, do you know that falling blocks game? Now, you cannot tell me, I was trying to say it in the reaction, you cannot tell me that Ego has not already been like, oh, by the way, we also have a mobile game. I had Honori make it in her spare time. And it's going to be like Tetris, and there's all the blocks with the logos on it. This made me want to play Tetris instantly, so I wonder if this game actually does exist. That'd be kind of fun. But yeah, I like the way that he explains it though, where it starts off when you're playing people that are in the same kind of competitive category as you, things seem like they're very easygoing and you can figure it out and you can take the time to think through actions and it all makes sense. But as the game gets quicker and the pace picks up and you're playing with more like high demand players like Rin and Shido, then you can't quite sit there and think as long. You've got to start acting and figuring out what to do. And if you can't act in the moment, or if you want to increase your chances of your actions being successful, then what you kind of have to start doing is anticipate, okay, if I know these players and I know what they do, I know who they are and their personalities, and I've analyzed them, then I should be able to kind of predict what moves are they likely to do. And that'll help me kind of think before the block falls, right? And Isagi's like, well, doing the things the way I used to do would have been too slow. And I like that he shows them like looking at each other and they're all like bunched up and they're like, well, look at how the blocks are piled up. Which block are you holding in reserve? Like, what's your strategy? What's the shape of the next block? Like, what the cards are you holding? And I like that Hiori compares it to a gamer. They're like, you grasp the information, you think about it, and then you act. And a skilled gamer can process that at an incredible amount of speed. Which kind of would, make sense with Nagi. Nagi's a gamer. So I almost wish that Hiori and Nagi could talk about this metaphor, because I think Nagi would like instantly be like, yes, that's exactly how this works. Because Nagi, it also helps explain why Nagi is able to insert himself into different scenarios on the field so quickly, because he kind of anticipates what's going to happen next. He's like, oh, well, if this is like a game, here's where I need to go and this is what I need to do, and I'll just go ahead and do it right now. And it makes more sense that he's able to figure it out and pull it off just like that, like it's nothing. That all makes sense. Which is great. I also liked all the colors of the blocks. I loved when we had Hiori kind of framed in the shadows with the blocks behind him in color. Tobito was like that too. It looked really, really good. But he's like, they keep pressing the optimal combinations reflexively. And he's like, it's the same with soccer. He's like, you could see where the others were and what they were trying to do and the weapons that were available and where the next pass was coming from. So with you processing that, you got to the ball in the prime position to shoot first. And he's like, that's just how it works. He's like, it's like you suddenly did something amazing from the outside of things, but it's not actually a new skill. It's something you've always had. You're just upgrading. I love these, like, you go from 4G to 5G. And Isagi's like, yes. I love that Isagi's like, oh, upgrading, I can do that. I love it. He's like, your cell service went from 4G to 5G. And he's like, so I love the idea of Sagi realizing this is all latently inside of him and it's always been there. He's just getting more acquainted with it and he's upgrading and he's raising his level. I love it. I love it. It's so good. And it also has the thought in mind that since we're talking about like consuming people and like we did in season 1, if Isagi, gets to know his opponents or gets to know his comrades, then he'll be able to figure out who they are, what they do, and kind of adapt to it. The striker of adaptability, right? Mm-hmm. Which kind of relates to a character from Ace of the Diamond, where the main character of that series is kind of adaptable. And Isagi kind of does that too. They talked about the zone, being lost in the zone, that you're almost in a trance. That's in Kuroko's basketball as well. The zone. And Hiori says, I could only do it. Oh, Isagi says I could only do it because a lot of things were aligning. Because Rin and Shido were being bitches, I could slip past them. And I do love that he gives credit where credit is due and thanks Nanase and Hiori. Nanase, of course, is like a little Labrador. He's like, oh, thank you. Who, me? Oh my gosh. Hiori's just like, it's just what I do. I love Hiori. Nanase is a little Labrador character. There's lots of Labrador characters in anime. They're cute. They're adorable. They're precious. They're fun. I like Hiori. I did not think Hiori would stand out at the start of this season, and I was pleasantly wrong. I was like, I really like Hiori's character. It's going to suck when he doesn't make the top 11. Because I don't think he will. But I don't think he's going to make it unless he takes like Nico's spot or Chigiri's spot. I don't see it. Or Baro's spot. I don't know. But I like Hiori. He's such a sweetheart. And he's a really good strategist. And so then, yeah, Nanase basically says that there's nobody he'd keep up with except Isagi. But here's the thing. I think there's something important with what Nanase is saying there, because it kind of gets around to the conversation with Reo in this episode. Because if your characters are all freaks on the field and they're all insanely talented, right? Then the problem is they're all competitive freaks. Nobody is the ringleader. You got a bunch of lions in your circus. You need a tamer to get the lions to do what they need to do, right? So Isagi is like a tamer. He may not be as strong as the lions, but he can have the power and the control needed to figure out how this circus works. And that's kind of where Reo is as well. Reo can keep up with the lions and figure out where to coordinate them. He just has to figure that out, that he can do that. And Isagi is the same way. Nanase kind of points out that he's not on that level, so he can't do that, right? This whole scene of them were just so cute. There are so many parts that I'm going to screenshot. Also, Hiori has like the biggest eyelashes and the bottom eyelashes, and he's so cute. I love it. And Hiyori's like, you both allowed me to show our worth as well. He's like, the three of us actually showed what we could do together really great. And then they do that little high five. It's so cute. I love it. It's so adorable. I love them all together. The gentle parallel world. I wish we could stay here because they're so sweet. Yep. And Isagi's like, I've unlocked this new sensation. I haven't mastered it yet, but I love him going in the ocean. He's like, I can increase the chances of this happening. I can aim even higher. I love it. I love the idea of Isagi being like, I want to aim higher. I want to get better and better and better. And Reo kind of comes to that same conclusion by the end of this. So we have the second match. I'm glad we get to see the second match. Of this team, the one who did the least was Tanaka. Bob Ross, out. Instantly out. So let's do our top 11 so far. Rin and Ryusei, I think that they are shoo-ins just based on their talent alone. And I think Nagi is as well. I think Reo is going to be in the top 11. I have hopes for Reo. I'm going to knock on wood and hope that works out, but I have hopes for Reo. Kenyu, yeah, the way they described Kenyu, we're going to talk about him. I'm surprised they didn't do more with Kenyu, but I feel like they're saving him. I feel like they wanted to give us a little tiny taste of what Kenyu can do. And we're going to talk about that in a hot second of why. But this was mainly Reo's episode, really. This was Reo's episode to show what he can do. So I think those five, along with Isagi, definitely. My maybes, that's 6. So that leaves 5 spots. It's not a lot of spots left. If you had, for example, if you add Tobito to that, I'm going to put them off to the side sideways. And Ada, I just still don't know about Ada. Tobito makes sense. Tobito is really, look, these 6 I'm sure are going. Yeah, Rin, Ryusei, Nagi, Kenyu, Reo, Isagi. I'm sure they're going to be. My strong maybes are Ada and Tobito. And I know you guys are like, well, how could you dare? How could you dare say that they're not going? Just humor me. I feel like Tobito probably is, but I'm going to put him in the strong maybes over here. And Ada, I just something about Ada, I'm like, is he going to make it to the top 11? I'm going to put Chigiri also in this group because as much as I love Chigiri and I want him to go, there's this like inside part of me that's like, is he going to end up like Kunigami and not be able to advance forward? I'm going to put my nose down here. So far, as far as the nose go, Shiguma, and we had last week, Sarah Madara, they're not going. No. And then I would also say Nanase. No, I don't think he's going to make it, sadly. I'm going to put Hiori over here. I really would like Hiori to make it, but I'd like Hiori over Ada, but I don't think that's going to happen. Also in the maybes, I'm going to put, I don't think that Tanaka is going to make it. He did nothing this game. He did not stand out at all. He had like one moment where he couldn't get the ball past Ishikari, but that was like his only moment. In fact, I'm also going to say, just because I don't like Igarashi, gonna say no. Igarashi had a moment where he was just like, I want somebody to elevate me to a higher playing field. And I'm like, dude, get on your level. Check your privilege. I was like, Igarashi, you are not making the top 11. There's no way. If Igarashi makes the top 11 and someone like Chigiri or Reo doesn't, I will throw a fit. I'm like, no, get him out of here. No. I'm also gonna say no on Gin. I love Gin, but he only had that one booty shot. I'm sorry. They had one shot where he did the kick from behind. That was cool, but like, and they showed his butt, and he's a high school kid, so I don't want to focus too much on it, but that was the only shot, kind of like with Bob Ross's character with Tanaka. So I was like, I just don't see Gin making it. Now, of the others that are left, REU is my maybe, because REU did show some moves, but I don't know. So I'm kind of like left in a, I don't know exactly how we're going to do this sort of scenario. I don't know. I'm going to when I'm done with this, I'm going to make a new one of these and just have who I think are going to make it and just go off of that. But so I really thought that Nagi's team was going to win. I thought they were going to win going into this I thought that it was going to prove that Rin and Ryusei don't work good together unless Isagi's there. But the thing about it is, we'll talk about it, but I feel like maybe Nagi is naturally talented and really, really good. Reo is an all-rounder that could control him, but he was just trying to figure that out this episode, that he could even do it. Gina and Tanaka, nah. And Kenyu is really good, but I feel like they are saving Kenyu for the top 20. They are waiting to show off what he can do when he's up against like somebody. It just feels like one of those manga moments where they're keeping the one character that they're like, this character's really talented. We're not going to show you all what he can do, but he's really talented. And you're like, okay. So I feel like once we get to like the U20 match, then Kenyu is going to get to shine and show what he can do. But maybe him and Nagi will show that off with other combinations in the tryouts. That may happen as well. We're not sure, right? But I don't think Igarashi. And then, oh yeah, Ishikari. No, I don't think Ishikari is as well. Ishikari is a cool character, and he's cooler than I thought he was going to be in this match. He's like the tallest person of all the people in the third selection. Neat. But all he did was jump up and pass the ball, which is fine. He asserted himself. He could coexist, but he didn't do anything else. Igarashi barely asserted himself and barely coexisted, so I wouldn't describe that. And then REU, again, coexisted, did all that, but did not really stand out. I feel like Ryusei and Rin I feel like they spurn each other forward and they get each other motivated out of pure spite. So I feel like they could get each other to the goal to make it and everything, and they're so talented. It's like, come on. But Nagi needs a little motivation, or needs to be... Nagi is a go-getter, and he does a lot, but I feel like he just needs a little bit of prodding, and that's where Reo could come in. And Kenyu is good one-on-one. Kenyu is not so good, we establish, when he's not one-on-one against somebody. I like that. I like that makes Kenyu kind of, you know what he reminds me of? Not only, I said Miyuki from Ace of the Diamond because Miyuki wears sports glasses that are like that too. And it's like, oh, once you have the sports glasses, it's on. But you know who else wears glasses that's secretly evil but is really a pretty boy? Aizen Sousuke from Bleach. I feel like Kenyu is if Miyuki Kazuya and Aizen Sousuke combined. And I feel like there's going to be a moment versus the U20 match where Kenyu takes off the glasses and he's like, oh, all according to plan. And it's going to be one of those moments. I'm just waiting for it. So I'm like, okay, show. I'm like Frodo Baggins off Lord of the Rings. Keep your secrets. I'll wait on him. Fine. But yeah, so Reo's like, I've grown a little stronger. But he's like, I'm still no match for you. And I was like, I'm glad Reo got it together. Because when Reo gets angsty, he gets angsty. And I'm like, oh my God, Reo, no. When he gets all bent out of shape, he gets bent out of shape, y'all. And I was just like, Reo, you got to get it together, sweetheart. But yeah, so they managed to get past Ryusei, which is nice. RU looks glamorous, which is wonderful. And so I like these, like, I got to get over to Nagi. And Nagi's like, cool. But then Ishikari gets up, who's the super tall one, and passes it back. I don't think Ishikari is making it just for the sole fact that he's discount Baro. Also, realizing with Rin and Ryusei, we talked about this last episode, Ryusei's love language is affirmation and assimilation. And Ryusei's love language is insults. Rin's love language is being like, you piss me off, I hate you. Well, that's an emotional response, and usually Rin is not emotional, so there you go. Ryusei usually treats everybody like plebeians, but if he likes you... One thing about Ryusei, honestly, that gets me is I thought Ryusei from episode 24 was going to be a complete asshole. But honestly, I kind of like Ryusei a lot. And I'm really surprised by his character because he will admit if you do something cool, he's like, oh my God, that's the tits, bro. I'm like, what? And he's actually all on board with it. Whereas Rin's like, whatever, I guess that's okay. I'm like, what? Come on now. It's very surprising. And so then, yeah, Igarashi's like, I'm going to be a useful monk. But I like that Reo's like, I'm going to make you a useless monk. And I'm like, oh, I love it. So then he's like, who do I pass to? Which genius should I follow? And I like that, again, Igarashi's at the crossroads of his destiny. Isagi goes with his gut, but he also, and here's the difference. Isagi is like, I'm going to be the one to score in the last episode. He's like, I'm not passing to either. I'm going to do it. But Igarashi knows that he can't do it. So he's like, I have to pass to the person that's going to lead me to my destiny. At that moment, I was like, no, you're gone. Because if you can't stand on your own and do your own shot, like Reo proved this episode, then you can't go. You're not going to be able to move forward. That's just not going to work for you. And that's why I feel like Reo, since he can stand on his own, and Isagi and them, those six are fine. Hiori worries me because I don't know if Hiori and I don't know if... Chigiri, I think, can stand on their own. So Chigiri, Ada, and Tobito, I feel like they're fine. Ada seems kind of supportish, so I don't know. But Tobito and Chigiri can stay on their own. I just don't know about Chigiri yet. But Hiori and REU seem like they need someone to help them. So at that point, I'm like, if you can't score the goal on your own, then I don't know if you're going to be able to stand on your own. I feel like from the fantasy of the person with their hand on Igarashi, he was wanting the ball to go to Rin because he liked Rin more. But Ryusei, who he's been on a team with, by the way, ended up being the one that got the ball instead, which is interesting. And so, yeah, Gin manages to do the back kick, which was good. Nice showing Gin's body there. But, and I love that Ryusei at that moment, where he's like, he gets it and he's like, you were just about to reach it and I got it. And he's like, oh, cool. And it's like Ryusei had the blush on his face. Ryusei is like, I will support anyone who plays good at soccer. So then we have Kenyu. Hair slicked back, looking like a model, has the sports glasses, has the orange aura. And so Kenyu's whole thing is if he's one-on-one against somebody, he can't be beaten. Nice. Although, here's the thing. If he gets ganged up on, not so much. Whenever Ryusei said that's the good shit, I was like, I'm going to be counting on Ryusei to give me all the one-liners that I need. I'm going to need that. I love that. It felt like Ryusei just took like the biggest hit off a joint and it was like, that's a good shit right there. And I'm like, oh my God. And Rin, I love Rin's expression in that moment when it's the three of them because Kenyu's like, I did it. And Ryusei's like, that's a good shit. And Rin's like, oh God, why? Their dynamic is joyful and I love every second of it. But yeah, Reo's like, they are monsters. All of them. So they established that Kenyu is an infighter who uses speed and technique. He uses power and force. I like that they established, again, we have Bachara. We haven't got to Bachara yet. But I like that they established a difference between Kenyu and Bachara, which is very interesting. And I feel like they're going to face off against each other at some point, and that's going to be a thing. So Kenyu is all about force and speed. He's pretty pragmatic. He's pretty straightforward. He's good one-on-one against you because he's going to make himself do it. But if it requires multiple people coming at him, then he's kind of like, not so much. Whereas Bachara is all about creativity, and technique. So Batra is like, Batra is a more skillful person in his creativity and technique. And then Kenyu's like, I'm just going to overpower you and hope that it works. Kind of like a Tepe sort of situation in Kuroko's basketball. Yeah, speed and power. And then poor Nagi is like, what do I do? The one-on-one emperor. How do I face him? And Ishikari being like, don't order me around. I feel like Igarashi and Ishikari are in the boat where they're stuck back in the first selection when they were having to work together, and they're just kind of behind. But man, they have the orange, like, flaming aura around Kenyu. They are out to make him look as cool as possible. And so that's when he watches how Kenyu scores the goal and does the trajectory. And then REU tries to block it, but Nagi gets in the way, right? Mm-hmm. And I felt so bad for Reo because in that moment, there's a lot of things happening in that moment. One, Reo is watching how Kenyu scored that goal. And that's going to relate to the copying and the chameleon arc next time, right? So that makes a lot of sense because, again, Reo is very talented. He also is kind of like a master of all trades. He's also super smart, so he probably can pick up things really quickly. Also, chameleons are associated with rainbows, and you might as well call Nagi a unicorn and Reo a chameleon because there's rainbows everywhere. But his expression when he's like, this is not the Nagi that I used to know. Yeah, Nagi's grown so much, but Nagi is no longer someone that just sits back and waits for someone to tell him what to do. He's acting on instinct. He's getting in the game. He's making his own decisions. And Reo's like, I went from dragging you to a soccer field and making you listen to me to you being able to move on your own 2 feet and make your own decisions. And so then Reo has these like, they're enhancing each other's plays. They're monsters. And then I felt so bad the moment that he's like, you can call me, Kenyu's like, you can call me Yuki. And Nagi's like, cool. Like Nagi's not meaning anything by it. He's just like, we're friends. And whenever they smack hands, Reo's just like, Reo's sad, jealous face is the cutest, heartbreakingest thing ever. I'm like, Reo, no, don't be sad, sweetheart. And then he just thinks back. And he's like, you're a different person than the board guy I used to pass to. You're not mine anymore, are you? And I'm like, oh my God. So Reo has gone from Nagi being mine to Reo. And now Reo is like, I am going to be worthy to have you. Or no, it's not necessarily that. He's like, you're no longer mine, Rhea. He's like, Nagi, you're no longer mine. I can't force you to follow me. Instead, he's like, I'm going to make you chase me. He's like, I'm going to get to the point where you want to chase me. You want to come get me. You want to be mine. He's like, you've gone from being mine to being your own person, but I'm going to make you want me back. And I'm like, okay. And I love Nagi's like, got it. Do it. And I'm like, ah! I'm like, Nagi's on board with this. Let's go, right? I love that also Ryusei tries to call him Rin, and Rin is like, God, please stop. So we don't know about Ada or Tobito in this, but Rin's whole thing is that he's really good at kicking and technique. And then Nagi is really into technique. And then Ryusei is really into the kicking. And then Kenyu is also into technique and speed. And then Reo is the all-rounder. So he kind of breaks it down. And I can just see this in the manga being broke down. He's like, how am I supposed to keep up with you all? So we go from there. I like that Rin and Ryusei are still fighting. And Ryusei's like, you're stealing my goals. And Rin's like, well, I'm just trying to score a goal for the team because that's the point of the game. Mm-hmm. I like that he also calls Ryusei a pest because of the antenna. That's really funny. So Reo comes to the conclusion that the reason these top 6 are doing so well and the reason they're in the place that they are is because their whole goal is just to be the best striker in the world. They're doing it for themselves and nobody else. And he's like, I'm not like that. I'm doing it all for Nagi. Reo's like, I'm doing it all for Nagi and to be able to play with him. So I'm not on the same level as they are because I'm not playing just for myself. He's like, I'm not like that. And then he goes into, I love the backstory where he goes into saying like, if I lose here, I'm still set at home. I'm still top of my class. I'm still going to a great university. I could be a top businessman and inherit my dad's business. He's like, I've got everything set for me. And what I love about it is when he says, they're like, oh, we're doing this all for your sake. And it's set for you. And I love the moment that Reo's like, bullshit. You're not just setting this up for me. You're doing it for yourself too. And you're just passing it off like it's set up for me. But really it's to satisfy yourself. And in that moment, he's like, was I doing the same? Was I doing the same thing my parents were doing? Was I setting this all up for Nagi to be good at soccer just to satisfy my own need to have something that I didn't have? He's like, that's bullshit. I don't want to be like my parents. So he's like, no, I need to get better so I can achieve this soccer dream. And if Nagi chases after me and I can have him too, well, then that's a different story. But he's like, I've been going about this the wrong way. He's like, I'm not going back to that life of boredom. What? And when he says what I want is right here and it's just Nagi in front of him, I'm like, are you freaking kidding, show? Like, is there any question? He's like, it's nowhere but here. And he's like, I'll throw it all away if it means if my skills are capped at 99, then I'm going to be proud of it. I'm going to lean into it. And I'm like, yes, please. That's exactly what you need to do. Of course. Right? I love it. It's so good. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's what you should do. And he's like, I'm not going to be a jack of all trades. I'm going to be a master of trades. And I'm going to take you on. And at that point, Nagi's like, oh. And he's like, go ahead and pass it to me, Reo. And Reo's like, no. At that moment, I feel like that's when he took on like Isagi. And he's like, I'm not passing it to you because that's not the point. The point is, from the first selection, we need to be able to take this shot ourselves. And then when he's like, I'm going to change into whatever color. If you're changing at blue lock, I'm going to change too. And I love the fact of him being the chameleon and change into whatever color he needs to. He's like, if I got to copy a goal, I will. My play style is the chameleon. Oh, I love it. I thought Kenyu was going to be the chameleon, but it's Reo and it's perfect. Oh, I love it. Also the tongue thing. I'm like, yes, please. I love every moment of this. And they're like, oh, wow. They're like, Reo's goal is to copy an ability. That's so cool. And so now Hiori is like, well, it's still just a copy. It's only a model. Hiori is like, it's not as good as the original. And I'm like, well, you could say that about Kisei and Kuroko's basketball, but he found ways to make it work. And I do think that there's ways that Reo can make it work in the future for him. I really do. I think there's ways he can make it work in the future for him. We'll see how that goes and what he ends up doing. We just talked about that earlier, but I think that there's ways he can like subjugate by knowing what the people around him are doing and kind of working with that. And Isagi's like, yes. I feel honestly like Isagi and Reo could be kind of like co-pilots. They could be like co-pilots in this and they could both be setters, which is kind of cool. I like that. Because if you think about it, when you have like a national team, you don't just have like, again, in volleyball, you don't just have like one setter. In baseball, you don't just have one pitcher. You have different pitchers. If you're going to use the baseball metaphor, you have a lineup of pitchers so that if one gets tired out or if you need to switch with somebody, you have that option. And soccer's not like baseball, obviously, but I feel like you have people that both share the same roles, right? Oh, Reo. It's still under development. And he's like, I'm still not good enough to beat the top 6, but I know how I can evolve. And then look, here's the thing. Nagi came up to him first saying that they lost. He's like, hey, we lost, but that was a nice goal. Like I love the two of them just talking with one another and they're slowly mending that fence, mending that relationship. Like we had our breakup and now we're going to start getting back together. But Reo's like, you know what? You're changing, Nagi, and I'm going to change too. And he's like, yeah, he's like, and Nagi's being so nice. He's like, you know, you copying, it's very you. I like this new weapon. And then he's like, it's still not enough. Reo's like, it's not enough that I can just copy people. He's like, that's not the type of soccer that you want to play, is it? And it's not the kind that I want to play. I love it. And then he's like, yeah. He's like, so then leave me alone, look down on me, and wait. I'll become someone that you can't help but chase after. And Nagi's like, you got it if that's what you want. Oh, I love that Nagi's like, okay, we're not quite back together fully. We're not dating yet, but he's like, you're doing your character growth. You're having your growth moment. Fine. We'll keep doing our thing. And if we get together at the end, then that'll be fine. I want them to. Let them get together, show. Come on now. And Reo's like, I'll get what I want at all costs. The romance. Oh, it's so damn good. Oh, yes, absolutely. Oh my God. Amazing. Okay, so Toshi comes in. Toshi Sae comes in. He is not impressed with the manager or the one guy. He has an agent named Glorant Debati. Glorant Debati is the most made up of made up names, but I just like, I feel for him having to chase around Sae. Sae's a lot different than he was in season 1. He's like, who's this incompetent loser in the beer belly? Again, well, Sae was kind of like this in the first season. He seems like he's just not impressed with the U20 team at all. He's like, I watched the video of them and they're just bunglers stewed up in vomit. He's like, I came here because you told me we could play the blue lock people, but he's like, I'm not playing with a bunch of second-rate losers. Bye. So they're like, oh, well, you know, don't you like the forwards, Itoshi Sae? You know, if not, we could get someone else, you know, an overage player or even a legend. And he's like, I can have anyone. He's like, sure, as long as they're Japanese. It could be Ramos or Kazu. So when he said that, so basically they're going to substitute out a bunch of the players that are on the current team to bring like an alumni all-star Japanese cast, which is obviously going to include David Bowie, right? David Bowie's going to be on it, I'm sure, because he's two-toned, got the two-tone eyes and everything. Here's my thing. I'm just putting this theory out there because it's like, as long as they're Japanese, and Sae was like, and he's like, well, in that case, and he has like his aura, he's like, then there's an idiot in Blue Lock that I want to team up with. It's ego, right? It's ego, isn't it? They're going to have to play against ego, aren't they? They're going to have to outmatch ego, right? Because, I mean, like, you're playing against Blue Lock. So Itoshi Sae, he can't just play against the players that are potentially playing against him, right? But if there's somebody in Blue Lock he wants to team up with, well, that's ego. And if it could be anybody, as long as they're Japanese, we've contemplated that Ego's been a former player for a long time now. So it's got to be Ego that he wants to play with, because Henri can't play on the field because hashtag FIMS, but it has to be Ego. And it would be amazing if not only were they playing against Sae, which is enough, and David Bowie, but if Ego was included in that too, that seems insane. But I don't know. I can't, other than Ego, I can't think of anybody else in Blue Lock he could play with. But we'll just have to see about that. Anyway, so the additional time is, they're like, who do you remind me of? And he calls Nagi a sloth, which I'm like, call him a unicorn. But yeah, sloth. And so he's like, I don't see it. I love that Nagi's just like slumped over like, I don't get it. He calls Kenyu a tapir, which definitely reminds, a tarsier. A psychopath tarsier. Kenyu being called a psychopath makes sense. He kind of has a Norman Bates vibe to him. But yeah, a tarsier, because he's like, oh, is it because of the glasses? He's like, no. So then he's like, well, okay. So then Reo's a chameleon, and the illustration is hilarious. I love it. It is the copy. REU is the most glam stick bug. I was gonna say praying mantis, but the most glam stick figure bug. I love it. A glam sect, if you will. Isagi being a rhinoceros beetle, according to Nagi, is pretty funny. But the fact that Rin compares him to a larva. But here's the thing. Reen's a bird. So is Reen eating Isagi? Is that what we're going at? Also, what is this crack ship that Kenyu has created between Baro and Toki? What is this crack ship? How does this work? I didn't even think about this ship. What the fudge is this? Excuse me? And then Rin-kun, they're like, well, they call him a sludge monster, which is hilarious. But I'm like, would Isagi as the horn beetle like roll Rin up into a little ball and put him in his mouth? This show gets too sexual. And then Rin's like, no, Isagi's not a rhinoceros beetle. He's a little larva. Just so funny. And they're like, yeah, that's true. And then Kenyu's like, let's stop. Oh, this was too good. Oh, this was so much fun. Oh, I love this episode so much. So yeah, the one thing that's crazy is that we don't know what teams are playing next. Damn it. I'm like, what? But why? So we've got to figure that out. Anyway, if you are watching on Patreon, I talk about this in the November update video, but episode 5 will probably come out on the following Tuesday instead of next Sunday, because I am going to be out of town next week from Friday to Sunday, so I will not be on the computer or able to watch episode 5 till I get home, and it's going to be really late Monday night, or Sunday night, so it'll probably be Monday night before I get to watch the episode, which means it'll probably come out Monday night or Tuesday. So that's the plan. So it should be out Tuesday, hopefully Tuesday morning at the latest. Those of you that are watching on YouTube, you'll see episode 5 at the usual time. It's just, this is like one of I think there's only 2 weekends where the episode might come out late, and this is just one of them on Patreon. So sorry for the inconvenience with that, but I hope you all enjoyed this episode as much as I did. REO and Nagi are wonderful. I love them to pieces. I cannot wait to see what the next round is going to be and whose team is going to verse whose. So anyway, I want to see Bachara in action. Maybe we'll see Bachara next episode. Maybe, possibly, we hope. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Although we should give Team A a rest. They've done 2 games in a row. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe. Take care. And yeah, I'm so excited to see what's going to happen next week on Blue Lock. I'll see you all then. Bye.